It begins on a day that shouldn't matter, just another ordinary afternoon in London, where crowds surge like tides and everyone is always in a hurry. Laura Williams walks behind her younger brother Billy, a bright, hopeful American kid who still sees the world as a safe place. He runs ahead of her into the underground station, weaving through travelers with the kind of fearlessness only children have. Laura calls out for him to slow down, but he laughs and disappears into the sea of bodies. The air beneath the station trembles, not from danger but from the familiar rumble of an arriving train. And then, in a heartbeat that no one recognizes until it's too late, Billy accepts a small package from an unfamiliar man, a package that looks too simple, too ordinary. A bag. A parcel. Something a stranger could hand a child without raising alarm. Seconds later, an explosion rips through the station. There is no moment to think, no chance to scream. Just heat, sound, light. And then nothing. Concrete cracks, dust fills the air, and the world that Laura knew collapses beneath her feet. In the smoke, the screams, the confusion, one truth hits with unbearable force: Billy is gone. Not missing. Not injured. Gone. In the days that follow, Laura moves like a ghost. Her family sits together in their flat, but they are no longer the same people. Her mother cries whenever she sees Billy's shoes. Her father tries to stay strong, trying to support them, but Laura can see the defeat in his eyes. The news calls it a terrorist incident, but those words feel distant, clinical, detached. For Laura, it is not an incident. It is the moment her childhood ended. While adults debate policies and suspects, Laura is haunted by a single question that no one else seems desperate enough to answer: who gave Billy that package? Someone looked into her brother's face, innocent, trusting, and used him as a tool of destruction. That thought burns like acid. It twists her grief into something sharper, something darker: obsession. Laura starts going back to the underground station, replaying every detail she can remember. She tries to talk to police officers, but all she gets are empty reassurances. "We're doing everything we can. Please go home, miss." They don't understand that she cannot go home, not while the man who murdered Billy walks freely through the same city. London becomes a maze of potential suspects. She scans strangers' faces on buses, in shops, in school hallways. Anyone could be the one. Fear coils around her like smoke, and soon she trusts no one. People she once sat beside in classrooms now look shadowed, suspicious. She sees danger in every gesture, every whispered conversation. Her grief is becoming paranoia, and she knows it, but she can't stop. Then a new weight enters her life: Jayron, a girl at her school who seems fragile and frightened. Jayron tells Laura her secret: she is being forced into an arranged marriage she does not want. She dreams of running away, of escaping to America. But she has no passport. And so she asks Laura for something that feels like a punch to the chest: Billy's passport. The passport of the boy who died 2 weeks ago. The passport that still smells like his room. Laura is horrified, angry, confused. And yet, she sees in Jayron's eyes the terror of someone whose life is slipping out of her hands. Jayron insists she had nothing to do with the bombing, but Laura's mind has already been warped by suspicion. Could Jayron be connected? Could this plea for help be something else: a trap, a cover, a link to the terrorists? Her thoughts spiral. She follows Jayron after school, watching where she walks, who she meets. Every time Jayron glances over her shoulder, Laura wonders if she is hiding guilt, or simply sensing the danger of being watched. Laura's inability to separate truth from fear becomes the story's most painful tension. She wants justice so desperately that she begins to abandon her own humanity. Even her friends notice. They tell her she's becoming cold, distant, volatile. But Laura doesn't care what she's becoming. She cares only about Billy, and the faceless killer who stole him. When police identify a possible suspect connected to extremist groups, Laura's obsession explodes into a reckless need to be involved. She starts investigating on her own, digging through newspapers, shadowing strangers, piecing together fragments of overheard conversations. Her world narrows to a single pursuit: find the man who gave Billy that package. But the deeper she sinks into her mission, the more she realizes that nothing is as clear-cut as she imagined. The suspect is not a monster from the shadows, he is someone living a complicated life, someone who may have been coerced, threatened, or manipulated. That is the most terrifying part. Evil, in this story, does not wear a uniform. It hides in ordinary faces. Laura's emotional unraveling reaches its peak when she discovers a connection between Jaren's family and the extremist circle involved in the bombing. The shock hits her like a second explosion. Everything she feared, everything she suspected, it feels confirmed. Heart-pounding, she confronts Jaren with trembling fury. But Jaren breaks down, insisting she knew nothing, that she is trapped between her family's expectations and the unforgiving world around her. Laura sees the truth in her desperation. Yet doubt lingers. Could innocence and guilt coexist in one person? Could Jaren be both victim and linked to the killer? In a devastating twist, Laura finally glimpses the real terrorist, the man responsible for the explosion, the one who treated Billy as expendable. The confrontation forces her into a moral crossroads. She wants to destroy him. She wants him to suffer. But when she sees him up close, not as a monster but as a cowardly, misguided human, her rage curdles into confusion. What would vengeance fix? What part of her soul would she lose by taking justice into her own hands? The story doesn't offer the comfort of an easy answer. It refuses clean morals, refuses simple resolutions. The authorities eventually intervene, but even with the terrorist apprehended, Laura feels no triumph. No relief. Billy is still dead. Her family is still broken. Jaren's fate remains uncertain, and Laura must decide whether compassion or suspicion will guide her choices. The city around her continues its restless motion, as if her world didn't just fracture forever. And this is the ache at the heart of the terrorist. Sometimes the worst moments of our lives end quietly, without justice, without closure, without meaning. As the story closes, Laura stands in the very station where everything changed. Trains rush past, commuters hurry, announcements echo. Life continues as though Billy never existed. Laura whispers his name, feeling the weight of a truth that will stay with her forever. Tragedy does not end when the news stops reporting it. Terror does not vanish when the suspect is caught. Grief does not fade just because the world keeps moving. The camera lingers on Laura's face, older, harder, forever changed, and we are left with a question that chills long after the video ends. When a single act of violence can steal so much, how does anyone find the strength to trust the world again?